coworker is an intelligent customer success partner.
Welcome to AI and the Future of Revenue Retention podcast, where we explore how AI is transforming customer success and revenue growth. I'm Sushil, founder of Coworker. We work with revenue and customer success leaders to improve revenue retention using AI. Let's get started. Today, I'm joined by Alain Mowad, Vice President of Product and Customer Marketing at Aspect Software, an experienced product marketing and management leader who has led GTM strategy and high-performing team across AIML, SaaS, CX, security, and infrastructure. Hey, Alan, welcome to our podcast. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Sushil. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. So I think just to get started, if you can give us a little bit detail about yourself so that our viewer will kind of know whom they're listening to.
Sure. I'm Vice President of Product and Customer Marketing currently for a company called Aspect Software. We build workforce management solutions for enterprises. I've been in the contact center industry for well over 30 years. A lot of experience both in contact center and communications. So have seen the industry through its various iterations and changes and disruptions as we're going through right now with AI, as you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we would love your perspective since you are more from the marketing than the customer success, deep into customer success. I think that will be really valuable for all our customer success leaders to kind of understand from this perspective as well. So at least at a high level, if you can give us from marketing perspective, what's your overall game plan to retain your customer or expand footprint with your existing customer from marketing point of view?
Yep. Yeah, there's a number of angles that we take there. So first of all, we're a very high touch business, and so we spend a lot of time making sure that we are regularly and constantly engaged with our customers, and so we do that through multiple different avenues from a marketing perspective. One key pivotal area where we focus is around our customer community, which is a site where customers can come and interact with each other. One of the things we found is customers love to talk to each other, right? Of course, they talk to vendors, but at the same time, when they talk to each other, they learn things like, I had this problem, hey, I'll show you how to fix it. Or here are best practices that we've, implemented that you could choose to implement. And we find that customers, even that are competitors, tend to talk to each other to kind of figure out, how to, best practices and ways to navigate and use the software and the solution. So it provides them with a high touch way to engage with us. So not just the marketing folks, but our product people, our CSMs, our technical account managers, and so on. So it really gives them that high touch environment and that regular engagement. And we use community to do things like share new product updates and we do Ask Me Anything sessions. Just to keep them constantly engaged. And we have an ideation portal where they can go in and add ideas like, hey, it'd be great if the product did this. That goes right to the product team. The product team can provide feedback and input. So this is one key pivotal way that we engage. The other is we provide the CSMs. CSMs are on the ground. They're providing day-to-day support, customer love. We give them air cover. So we provide them with campaigns and things to keep customers engaged. But we also look at things like intent signals. So if you look at what is the customer currently happy? Is the customer currently unhappy? Are there things that they're telling you or that they're not telling you? And provide that input to the CSM so that they can reach out to their customers as a way to say, well, I understand you may be having an issue with this. You might be looking at other options. What can we do to help with this? What can we do to make this right for you?
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yep.
So when you said you kind of understand the customer sentiment, if they're happy or not, is that a kind of survey from marketing or what do you use?
We do a variety of different tools. Surveys is one way that we do this. The other way is we look at things like intent signals to understand, through different sites like G2, for example, to understand, are customers exploring other options and if so, why, right? And so getting to the bottom of, okay, this is why they may be looking at a solution, a competitive solution, or signals that we're hearing from anecdotal information, market research, et cetera, that indicates that the customer may be a churn risk because they may be looking elsewhere. And so, how do we engage with them to make sure that, we address the concerns that they have, then so that they say, you know what, I think Aspect remains the right solution for us, so that we can keep moving forward with them. And we try to do that very early in the process, and we keep so that our customers buying cycles are very long, right? And
Mhm.
so we're talking a year, sometimes a year and a half. And
Oh,
so we have to look very far out
wow.
in terms of figuring out, okay, do they, are they starting to look now? And in which case, okay, so it's a year and a half out. So then let's start to talk to them more about what we can do. And another part of the retention strategy that we follow is expansion, right? So we know that they're using products a certain way. We know they have a certain profile. We know that they are interested in certain things. So let us position other products and services to them that can be useful to them, that can bring value. And the more we do that, the more they perceive the value, they understand the value of staying with Aspect. And that also helps from a retention perspective.
Mhm, mhm. Um, that's very
You know,
interesting. Sure, go ahead, Cliff.
no, I'm sorry. It's fascinating. So I have a lot of questions around how you all came to the conclusion to build this community. It's a fantastic path, right? But how have you seen adoption and the signals that you're getting out of the engagement through that community evolve over time? I mean, I imagine it was an experiment and then you expanded it and now it's a formal strategy from a product marketing perspective. But how did that evolve?
Yeah, it's a great question. We were using a vendor before for community, and we've completely revamped it. So we have a whole new vendor, a whole new approach. We found that our customers, if they really like the community concept because they feel like it's an area where they can engage, like I was saying earlier, with other customers. They can share their successes. They can also share their concerns. And when you bring up signals, it's a great point because community is also a great way for us to discern signals that the customer may be frustrated with something or may have an issue with something or they're extremely excited about something and something that we haven't positioned or sold to them yet, so let us go and talk to them more about it. It's just increasingly customers want that self-serve type environment where they can go in, they don't feel the pressure from the vendor, the daily pressure from the vendor, that they can reach out to colleagues of theirs and say, hey, we all do the same thing. We're all struggling with the same problems. What have you done to solve this problem? Or throwing out ideas and saying, I wish the product could do this. And then others can chime in and vote on those and say, yeah, actually, that's a great idea. I can upvote it. I can downvote it. So there's a variety of different ways that they can engage with us, but also with each other. And that does provide us with signals. It does give us a sense of the temperature of our different customers. Are there any issues where, okay, this is a red flag. We need to talk to them more about this. We need to resolve this for them. Or, here's an area where they're very excited. It's also provides us with an opportunity, and we've had a lot of customers who've come forward and said, hey, would you be interested in doing a case study? I heard you just recently had a success, implementing our solution. Would you be interested in doing a case study or a testimonial? So we're getting a lot of those through that channel as well.
Mhm. How do you collaborate with all of these people to make sure your marketing message, your positioning is consistently carried through all the communication that happens on the support, on the customer success, on the account management, everywhere? So I'm just kind of
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, I would call it, it's a loop, kind of a loop. So,
Mhm.
and it's an ongoing, so what I mean by that is it's an ongoing cycle and it requires very close collaboration between the marketing team, the customer success team, the support team, the services team who do the implementation, some
Mhm.
post-implementation support, getting us all together on the same page on, so what we do, so for example, when we put out new releases, new updates, we have a very thorough enablement program where we enable everyone from the CSMs, support team, to the services team, to the sales and sales engineering teams, so that they're all on the same page in terms of here's how we're messaging and positioning this. This is what we're launching. Here's how you can get access to it, and here's the collateral that's available, etc. And then, in their ongoing sort of work, we actually mine a lot of the data that support our CSMs are using. We use certain applications that are AI, very AI heavy, that allow us to to ingest transcripts, from conversations that occur between support and the customer, between our CSMs and the customer, and then other data points as well. We ingest this and we use AI to be able to discern signals from that, saying, this customer has consistently had an issue with this, right? Or this customer is very happy with that. And then using that as a way to augment, what we provide to the CSM support teams, et cetera. It also helps us from a messaging standpoint and how we're messaging the product and solution, getting direct feedback from our customers, right? Does this make sense to you? This makes no sense to me, right? Okay, so we're obviously missed the mark, so we got to, start again. No problem. Go back to the drawing board, figure it out. But it does help us also make sure that it's resonating with them, that yes, this makes sense. This is exactly what we were looking for. This is exactly what we were looking for. This is what we wanted. So it does help us, and we're constantly using them as a sounding board to make sure that our messaging is current, and makes sense and is in step with what they're looking for.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. And I would imagine there's always some challenges, kind of trying to be in same page with across
Sure.
the board, right?
Sure.
So just kind of in a similar sense, do you have a consistent, like a single dashboard where, well, two-part question. Number one, how much you get involved on how happy and sad or churn risks and all those things there is for customer, your existing customer, right? How deep you get involved on it, or you just like they actually come to you when they need some kind of messaging and all those things.
No, we're increasingly much more proactive. I wouldn't say we're perfect yet, but I would say we're much more proactive now. So we look at different things. Like I said, we look at the transcripts from the conversations. We also look at our review sites. So we G2, Gartner Peer Insights to see how customers are, the kind of feedback customers are giving us. We regularly interact with the CSMs to try and get customers to, if we want to do case studies, things like that, and we get temperature from them saying, well, this customer is in yellow right now, they're not green because of the situation which we're working through. So we do get a better sense from them. So it's a combination of systems-based data, like I said, dashboards. It's more like, data that we ingest, but also talking to them on a regular basis, and understanding, here's where, here are the customers, here's the status of some of our key customers, and here's what's going on in each of those accounts.
Okay, sounds good.
So,
and
when you look at all of these various different data sets, how, as an organization, do you look at this from a noise perspective versus a quality of activity or action that can come out of that? So when you start thinking about putting new systems in place, pulling in new data sources, the intent, the insights, the AI in and of itself creates a lot of noise. How do you filter through that? So, or maybe not necessarily how you filter through that. What's your perspective on that, and how do you make it valuable noise?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like without AI, this task that I was just describing is way more complicated. I would say nearly impossible, because there is so much data, right? There's so many conversations happening, so many things transpiring, support tickets being opened, et cetera. I wouldn't say virtually impossible. It would require an army of people to do it, right? So, and then coordinating all that information and synthesizing it. What we found, and obviously it's not perfect, but what we found is AI has really helped us synthesize that information in a way that's relevant to us, right? So, out of the hundreds of conversations we've had with clients, here are the top things that they keep bringing up, right? So that's very helpful for us. For this one specific account, here are the 5 or 6 things that signals that we've taken away. It looks like they're very interested in a product like gamification, which we sell. They're interested in, okay, great, let's go and talk to them more about our gamification solution and see if it's a fit, it's something they would like. So you've heard this over and over again, right? AI is only as good as the data. We've done a pretty good job internally to cleanse the data to make sure that the data is accurate. That reduces the noise from an AI perspective. But those AI tools really help us synthesize the information in a way that's relevant, which in my opinion was not possible before, even with humans, right? Even with human intervention.
Oh,
of people working
Absolutely.
on it. Yeah, yeah. So it's definitely helped. It's definitely up leveled our ability to be able to execute on our customer marketing strategy.
Have you been able to measure an ROI against that?
Not yet. It's a great question. Not yet. I can say so. For example, if I look at the workload of my team, I can say that we are producing easily 4 to 5 times more as a small team. We have a very small team
Wow.
than we could have done without AI. And I think
Yeah.
that number is just going to keep going up. That's a guess. That's a rough guess, I would say. But
Mhm.
we're able to produce much more content. We're able to
Mhm.
act quicker on things like signals than we ever could. Again, we would require 5 or 6 times the number of people to be able to do before.
No, that.
Yeah.
And then and last question, Sushil, I'll
Sure.
turn it back
Please,
over to you. But
please.
I start thinking about the prioritization of actions. You talk about long sales cycles, long customer engagements. When customers start looking elsewhere, right, and start glancing at competitors or whatever it might be, you have a long road
Yeah.
to see some of these things. How do you dissect that and actually prioritize your actions?
Yeah, there's the way I view it is there's if you have a prospect that someone you're prospecting that you're getting signals from and they're showing that they're looking at this, these 3 or 4 different solutions, I'd say that signal is strong, but is not as strong as when a customer does it because a customer is you have a formal relationship with them. They're happy with your product. If they're looking at other solutions, there's at least 2 reasons they're doing. One is they're trying to figure out, what features do they have that Aspect doesn't, and we need to put in a feature request. Or two, I'm thinking about maybe shopping for another solution. And so that's a strong signal for us. That they are, actively at least looking. It may not mean that they're looking to move, but at least that they're looking. And so that's where we start to get engaged with them very early on to say, hey, how can we, is there anything we can help you with? How, what's your temperature? Are you, without, without trying to, push the envelope around, well, are you looking at Varen? Are you looking at, other vendors or whatever? But it's more a question of understanding where their heads are at. And if they are, oh, I was just looking to see if there were, some capabilities or, well, we haven't been happy because of this. Okay, great. So now we understand what the problem is. Let's figure out how do we help you resolve that problem so you're happy again.
What is product marketing role on helping customer success to be successful from signal to action, fast we can act? Number one. Number two, what do you see in general roadblock, whether it's in customer success side or in the marketing side to act on those signal and engage customers soon enough?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest challenge is, we're not, as a marketing team, we're not in the day-to-day sort of,
Absolutely.
of what's happening with our different customers. The CSMs are, right? And so they're very much in the day-to-day. And so they understand the customer's temperature. They understand, where issues may be lying, successes they're having, et cetera, et cetera. And so part of it is, as we look at the signals, is trying to align that with, okay, going to the CSM, so say a specific account, going to the CSM and saying, okay, here's what we're seeing. What are you seeing? What are you hearing from them? And then getting a sense from them of, yeah, actually, we've been having an issue over the last 6 months, and this has been the issue. Okay, these kind of align. So now let's figure out what we can do to address it. So part of it is obviously fixing the problem. That's the one thing. That's not something marketing can do.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is, how do we help them, the CSMs, to message it correctly so the customer understands that we're committed to them, which we are, and that we have a roadmap, around if they're saying, well, we don't have this or that capability, we have a roadmap around that. Maybe getting the product team engaged. This may be a good opportunity to say, okay, let's get the product team engaged to give them an update on the roadmap or provide them with some demos of upcoming solutions that we're putting to market soon. And the strategy will vary based on the customer. It really does. So this is not a one size fits all. It's very bespoke based on the customer. There are specific signals that they're sending, the specific temperature of the customer and the issues that they're facing, and how do we address them. So one could be just providing them with better messaging, better, objection handlers, what have you. The other could be, let's bring in a team. Let's bring in, the product team to address a specific issue, right? And talk through it, or provide them with a roadmap update, et cetera. So it really varies from customer to
Sure.
customer, and it really depends on the situation. But those signals combined with what we hear from the CSMs and the
Mhm.
data we collect gives us a
Mhm.
pretty good rounded view of what we need to do with a specific customer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the point is you are intensely involved when you hear the external signals.
Yes,
To
exactly right.
engage the
Yeah.
customer. So no,
Now, the
that.
CSMs do reach out to us also to say, hey,
Mhm.
customers are asking us questions about these new capabilities.
Mhm.
What do you have around messaging collateral that we can share
Mhm.
with them, and we can provide that to them, right? So that's another way that we collaborate together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A little bit about the on the expansion side, right?
Yeah.
So how your engagement with customer through, I guess, CSM on the expansion side of it.
Yeah, we look at signals. We also look at things like community, customer. Like for example, we had a customer who had expressed an interest a while back, and hey,
Mhm.
is there any good does Aspect do anything around gamification? Like, okay, this is an opportunity. We don't try to force feed expansion.
Mhm.
We don't try
Mhm.
to force feed products on our
Mhm.
customers. What we do is we discern intent first through community, through what they're posting on review sites, et cetera, to figure out, hey, is there an opportunity maybe to go in and position this product, which they clearly need, that's the approach we take. So it's very specific to the customer signaling that they may be interested in that type of a solution versus us going in and, hey, did you know we have these 5 other products, which
Mhm.
doesn't really sit well. It's more understanding their need and saying, okay, we have a product that addresses that need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. No, that
Yep.
that sounds good. And
Yep.
absolutely, that's the right approach,
Yep.
right, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I know we talked about AI, but just quick, is there anything that you would like to highlight? Hey, this is where we are using AI. I know we talked about time saving and all those technology,
Yeah.
but is there anything that we left that you want to highlight on AI?
I think so. AI has been. I mean, it's allowed us. If I could say it in one simple term, it allows us to scale
Yeah.
as an
Yeah.
organization. It's something we haven't been able to do. The only way we've been able to scale in the past is with people. It allows us to scale, and we use AI everywhere. We use it in our marketing, daily in our marketing activities. We write content with it, and obviously we curate the content, but use AI to do the sort of the foundational content, research, so things that we try to incorporate it as much as possible in our daily lives, and in the end, it helps us scale and get our jobs done. It helps us get our jobs done better, and we apply it. So we apply it internally. So in terms of how we work, but we also apply it in terms of how do we augment and up level our customer marketing activities. And AI has really helped there as well. So it's given us, again, its time is definitely right, but there's also humans make errors, and like there's no way you can go through thousands of documents and thousands of different data sources to figure things out. It's monumental in terms of effort, whereas AI makes that relatively straightforward, and it just helps so much in terms of helping us do a better job.
No, I totally agree. So
Yeah.
last question.
Sure.
Now, I think the landscape is changing, of course, from AI, from various other region. Customers are becoming more picky. They're
Yeah.
more aware of what's going on. The level of customer service expectations is going, kind of their expectation going more and more high. And all of these things and kind of product AI is shrinking the competitiveness because the new entrants are coming in so fast, right?
Right.
So what's your game plan for 2026 with all the situation that's coming in?
I think, our approach as a company, if we talk about the product for a second, is there's a lot of talk, like you said, about AI, and I think there's a lot of noise. And I think we've heard from a number of our customers that I've heard the term exhausted, just from, hey, we implemented it and it didn't quite give us the returns we were looking for. Now we're pulling back. So, and that's okay. That's across the board, I think. What we try to do is take a very intelligent approach. We've had a lot of pressure from industry analysts and others to say, what are you doing around AI? What are you doing around AI? And our response is we use AI where it makes sense, right? We use machine learning in a lot of what we do. We use AI, we use automated workflows as well. Automated workflows work in many cases. So it's really applying AI in a way that it helps improve the outcome of the customer. That's the only viable thing for us, right? If it doesn't improve the outcome, we're not just going to say AI for AI. If it doesn't improve the outcome of the customer, but a workflow does, or a machine learning automation does, then great. That's what we're going to implement. And that's the approach we've taken, our product and engineering team have taken to implementing these type of improvements in our product.
Okay, no, great. Definitely. I think ultimately our goal is to provide value to our customers, right?
Exactly right.
And not just because for self-serving, because so that they will keep on using our product, right?
That's it, right? They have to continue to see the value. Otherwise, if they don't see the
exactly.
value, why are they staying with us, right? So totally right. Totally right. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's an interesting point too, because I've been working very, very hard over the last 2 or 3 months to take AI out of all my messaging and speaking and trying to just remove that barrier, because people are exhausted. They're frustrated. Many people are afraid still of what it does, afraid for roles and responsibilities versus a transition to leveraging a new tool in a new way. So I agree with you completely.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Alain, for your time. Really appreciate it. I think it was a very valuable, insightful discussion. I'm sure our viewer will enjoy this and learn from the marketing kind of perspective as well. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Great speaking with you both.
Thank you.
Feel free to contact us if you want to learn more about how AI can help customer success.